of year again where the weather is getting nice and it's time to get out of the house for some family fun. Lily Putt is the perfect place and is open for the season. Be the first to take on their newest escape room, The Bunker. It's intense, exciting, and totally unforgettable. Prefer spooky? Try the Haunted Mansion. When you're done escaping, hit the mini golf course, go-karts, and jump pads. Lily Putt is perfect for parties and group events too. Visit lilyputt.net for hours and start your spring adventures at Lilyputt. Greg Bakun here. Like you, I love good, fresh, delicious food. So I want to tell you about this treasure in Roseville called Maverick's Real Roast Beef. Maverick's has the best roast beef sandwiches I've ever had. Made fresh every order. Add fries or onion rings dropped in the fryer when ordered, and you have a winning combination. Maverick's Real Roast Beef has a lot more than roast beef, so check out their website, mavericksbeef.com, or check out their restaurant on Lexington in Roseville. Have you ever met someone who not only can help you on a deep spiritual level, but also potentially change your life? Refined Divine is an extremely gifted psychic medium who travels the nation and lives right here in the Midwest. And she offers mediumship, mentorship, house and business parties, energy healing, palm readings, and so much more. Refined Divine has helped thousands, and she can help you.
Hi, this is Psychic Medium Deb. I cannot wait to hear from you. You can go to refineddivinepsychic.com.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for partly cloudy skies tonight with a low around 38, Saturday sunny with a high near 65, and Sunday sunny with a high near 74. Since 1984, Cafe Latte has been a hotspot for American eats and desserts. Enjoy gourmet salads, sandwiches, and soups with a unique cafeteria-style setup. Don't miss the pizza and wine bar offering gourmet pizzas and over 30 wines by the glass. Explore the bakery for fresh treats. Located off Victoria and Grand, more at cafelatte.com.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host, guest, random reptoid, or chupacabra may not necessarily reflect those of AM 950 Radio, its affiliates, or its sponsors. Now, it's time to step into the unknown. There are things people experience but never talk about. A shadow moving in the corner, flickering of the lights, a disembodied voice. We invite you to talk with us. Share your story, share your experience, because this isn't just your story. This is our story. This is GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakun.
Casual Friday. Casual Friday. Casual Friday on GhostBox Radio.
And this is GhostBox Radio on AM 950, where every night we talk about the paranormal, ufology, Bigfoot, and so much more. It is Casual Friday here, and thank you very much for joining us as we ease our way into the weekend, which is, I think that's kind of the goal for many of us, I would say. And for those of you who have to work this weekend, I apologize. I hope that you still have a fantastic weekend as well. Over in Eden Prairie, we have Adam running the board. How are you doing tonight?
Getting closer and closer to that for that weekend that is on the horizon. And actually decent weather this weekend. I'm actually excited.
It is.
Star Wars Day is supposed to be like 74 and sunny. It's going to be great.
Oh, May the 4th is on Sunday, right? No,
that is correct.
Yeah, Sunday. Tomorrow is actually National Paranormal Day.
Ooh, are you doing anything special?
You know what? I'm actually not, but I'm going to go through here in a second all the stuff that I have going on. So I'm not too worried about it, but we have special programming Monday that I'll talk about going into the third segment about how we're going to celebrate National Paranormal Day on Monday on GhostBox Radio. And it's going to be good. So yeah, with nice weather and all, you're going to do a little grilling out there, anything like that?
Little grilling, and I'm actually going to do some yard work.
Oh,
yeah, I know. I'm bummed about it too, but it's nice. I need to get something done.
No, I understand. I gotta do something too here. I'm at a crossroads in my grass mowing sort of phase here. I've for the last so many years, I've actually had somebody come out and mow the lawn, only because I just have such a bad back, and everywhere I go to, it's like the prices are raising, as with everything else, and I'm certainly not saying that they're not deserving of it, but it is starting to make me trying to decide whether it's time to get back into it and invest into a lawnmower and just maybe get off my lazy backside and do it myself. So that's kind of, I do have a lawnmower in my garage, but that thing hasn't been started in probably about 5-6 years. I'm sure, I know that it could be nursed back to health, probably, but then again, maybe not, because it wasn't ever drained of its oil or gasoline. So I kind of think that this thing is, probably at the end of its line. It's probably, every time I go out there, is begging me to put it out of its misery. So
yeah, that's a giant paperweight at this point.
yeah, so it's time to figure out what to do. Like I said, I'm at a crossroads. We'll see. And I will make a decision when the grass is like knee high and the city is on me to do something about it. That's when I'll finally, because I'm so good at making decisions, that's when I'm going to finally be like, all right, this is what I'm going to do. Or find like a neighborhood kid walking down the street. It's like, hey, do you mow lawns? I got $20 for you if you want to mow this, I don't have a lawnmower for you. I have nothing, but please, so we'll see what happens. But it's going to be interesting all the same. Those are the predicaments I have to deal with, I guess. So
I was just gonna say, just put a sign out there. Please mow my lawn. $20 is in it for you. There will be a teenager who needs $20 who will mow your yard. Will it be a great job? No, but you know what? It'll get mowed.
I have never cared if as long as my lawn is a greenish color, not full of dandelions, or to be seen full of dandelions, and been mowed, I could care less about the lushness of it. It could have bald spots on it. I could care less. Of course, I've chosen to live next door to people who care very much about that, and that may have been a contention over the past 20 years of these people who refuse to move from my next door, and I have to look at. They still, even when I have somebody coming out and working on it, I still get complaints about it. It's just like, what would you like? Would you like me to, bring in some, Kentucky bluegrass and, just have the whole yard just like re-sodded for you? The one time because for a while it was pretty bad before I brought someone in to help with stuff. It was pretty bad with weeds. And my neighbor comes over to me and he's just like, so, and it's probably about $300 for the summer to get someone out here and work on your lawn for the whole summer. And I said, if you're willing to pay, I'm more than happy to take you up on that offer. I mean, you seem to know a lot about it. You seem to be, I wouldn't expect you to be so lucrative with my money. So it must be you offering. But he didn't actually. He didn't want to pay for it.
My neighbor Sean, and I will call him out, Sean, is the exact same way. And it's flat out. The next time he wants to say something, I'll be like, cool, you pay my property tax and take care of my yard.
Well, I mean, and I know, and I've been to your house, and when I look at your lawn, I don't think, oh my gosh, this guy doesn't care about his lawn at all. You do what you do with it. It works. And I'm saying more for myself, I'm not here to try to win any prizes for how my lawn looks. One year, I remember this very early on. We're calling people out tonight. It's fine. Peter is my neighbor next door. And, I mowed my lawn and there was dandelions in the lawn. I guess honestly, accidentally, some of those dandelions must have, because it's a mulch, went into his yard. So what he did was he, I guess, picked them up, went out to my front door on my front stoop and laid them out on the front stoop, like 1, 2, 3, 4. And I was married at that time, and my ex-wife Jolene was just like, don't, because she could see the anger just rising in me. She's like, don't do it. And I'm like, she's like, don't. And that was wise. And then
Yeah.
I remembered when I was still snow blowing my own driveway, and the mailboxes are on my property. There's two of them, one for me and one for him. Mailboxes on my property, and accidentally his mailbox door opened up, and accidentally all the snow that I was running through my snowblower accidentally went into his mailbox and completely got packed in there with mail, and just everything was just completely compacted in there. And I felt bad that it opened up, so I shut the door again. And that's how that happened.
Well, that it was the neighborly thing to do, is shutting that door,
I
because the
thought so,
post
yeah.
office won't even attempt to deliver if the door is hanging open. So that was the neighborly thing to do.
I thought it was
And
kind.
accidents happen. So if it happened to be open and get some snow,
Oh yeah, I was bummed to see that. Obviously,
yeah, I know, because mail can be so important.
it could be very important. This is also the same. I mean, now you opened up a wound here. This is also the same. This was just this year that I live. If I go out my front door, there is a T in the road. So there's a stop sign, and then my road just crosses it, and then there's a house on the other side. It's not a four-way, and that stop sign. And this is where Grandpa Greg comes out, I guess. People aren't stopping at the stop sign; they're just blowing through it. And I thought his son, because it was his son's car, because I had to push it out of the snow once. I was nice enough to do that. He just blows through. So I'm so sick of this, because the house in front of the stop sign is it has small children.
Right.
And they're pretty well looked after by the parents, totally. But you never know. You don't want to be. It takes a second to stop at a stop sign, right?
Right.
So he blows through, and I'm like, I don't get along with this guy very well, but I just am feeling I need to talk about it. If he is outside when I come back from shopping, I'm gonna go talk to him about it. He's out there. I'm like, you got to do it. So I go over there, and I'm like, hey, I don't want to be that guy, but your son is blowing. I'm seeing he's blowing through the stop sign. He's like, my son, he hasn't been home in 6 months. And that's when the realization hit. Not his son, it's him that's going through the stop sign. So now I'm confronted with this guy who he's the actual one that's going through the stop sign, blowing through it. And I'm just like, I'm trying to be a human about this. I'm like, yeah, well, there's kids, right? I mean, why just stop at the stop sign? There's kids all around. You don't know when they're out. They're not kids when I drive around there. Can you not just stop for a second? I'll consider it, he said. That's what he said. I'll consider it. Okay. And of course, when I'm talking to him, somebody else blows through the stop sign, and he's like, are you go talk to them now too? And I said, I just might. So I mean, it's just and I'm not trying to be that guy in the street here, but it's like, come on, they're kids,
I've been that guy.
Well, I've too, obviously.
So we have a two-way stop. You go down north direction on my street. I don't give up my street. There's no stop sign. You're going east to west. There's stop signs.
I'll post his address later.
Yeah, there's a dude who would constantly blow that stop sign going east to west and west to east whenever he was on his way back. So one day I'm just sitting out there with my cell phone recording.
Mm-hmm.
First time I ever saw the dude slow down, actually stop, and then go.
Mm-hmm.
Later that evening, he comes back, he blows through. So that next day, I know when he's going to be rolling out there. I'm out there with my phone again. He stops. Ever since then, he has been stopping at that stop sign.
It's just ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
What do you, I mean, do you feel like, and Peter next door here, he has to be in his mid to late 60s. Do you feel like a kid again blowing through the stop sign? Do you feel freedom? Do you feel, I mean, what could you possibly be doing to not, it's not even like just kind of stop and go again. It's like literally just like it doesn't exist to him. And It's like, what on earth? What do you have to do just to stop? I mean, even if you don't see kids, it doesn't mean that they're not around. Kids do not function in the same way as anyone else. They seem to be able to transgress time and space to end up wherever they want to be at. So just stop and look around, make sure there isn't anything around that you can hit, and then go again. We would have taken 10 seconds off of your trip.
Oh my goodness, but those
Right.
10 seconds are so vital, man.
I mean, I was going to say 30, but that's not even true. You just stop, look, and then go. I mean, I don't mean to turn this into PSA hour, but it's not that difficult. So
No, it's not. But everybody thinks they're so important, and their stuff is more important than anyone else's, and God forbid they ever get delayed.
yeah. And and this is one of those cases that obviously you don't ever want to be proven right on this either. You don't ever want to be like, well, I told you so when he hits like 2 kids. You don't ever want to be in that position, because that's not how this should end. This should just be ending with someone being like, you're right. Just, it takes us a couple seconds more. I'm going to do that.
Just on the hypothetical portion of that alone, it should be enough for them to stop for the full 2 seconds and look.
You would think. And I could feel people behind me who are driving behind me. It's not a highly trafficked area by any stretch of the imagination, but I could feel when there is someone behind me and I do the full stop, and I could just see that they're kind of like, like, what the hell? Why aren't you going? Why are you stopping at the stop sign? Number one, because it's a stop sign. That's first and foremost. Not difficult. So.
Or they're of the, mindset of like, oh, any stop sign with a white border you can disregard.
Yeah, that's that old urban myth. That was like, that you just, if it doesn't have a white border around it, if it doesn't have a white border around it, you can just it's like a yield then, right? Is that what they would always say?
That's what it was, yeah.
Yeah, unbelievable. And like, oh, okay. As you're taking your driver's test, and they just happen to have a stop sign that doesn't have a white border around here. Well, that's what they said. I mean, come on. Unbelievable.
Where I grew up, I think they probably would have believed that.
same like if you're at a stop sign and you put your flashes on, it will turn it to green.
Oh my God.
You remember that? Yeah,
yes, I absolutely do. And I remember seeing people do it, and it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's not real.
Oh my God, yes, I do remember hearing that one.
But I mean, I've tried it when I was younger. I mean, it's like, oh, let's see if that works.
What, when you're like 12 and your dad takes you out and be like, don't tell mom I've let you behind the wheel type of thing? Or
no, a little bit older than that. My parents never really let me do any of that because we grew up in the city.
Right on. That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, I would. Yeah, it's probably in everyone's best interest that I wasn't driving. So yeah, it's funny, but yeah. Why don't we go ahead and do this? Let's go ahead. I want to first remind folks, it's question of the week. Feel free to put it in the comments the answer. This week's question is, what part of the world or culture has folklore, has there been folklore you're most interested in? So if you're a follower of folklore, and is there a certain part of the world or a culture that you find it most interesting, that you're drawn to? Let us know in the comments or give us a call. Number you can call in is 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. And if you're listening to us tonight and you're like, these two, they're full of crap. Who cares if you know the area, you shouldn't have to stop. Call in. I'd like to know exactly why you think that's okay. 952-946-6205. Otherwise, let's go ahead. Let's take our first break. When we come back, we're going to talk about some of the stuff that's coming up this summer. We want to make sure people are aware of and join us in for. And just don't go anywhere. You're listening to Casual Friday on GhostBox Radio.
It's that time of year again where the weather is getting nice and it's time to get out of the house for some family fun. Lilliput is the perfect place and is open for the season. Be the first to take on their newest escape room, The Bunker. It's intense, exciting, and totally unforgettable. Prefer spooky? Try the Haunted Mansion. When you're done escaping, hit the mini golf course, go-karts, and jump pads. Lilliput is perfect for parties and group events too. Visit lilliput.net for hours and start your spring adventures at Lilliput. Greg Bakun here. I've told you about the out-of-the-world roast beef sandwiches at Maverick's Real Roast Beef, but I haven't told you about their Philly steak sandwiches. Turkey, bacon, avocado sandwich, BLT, crispy chicken, fish sandwiches, brisket, or pulled pork. Okay, you get the idea. They make a lot of delicious food to the same standard as their famous roast beef sandwiches, and now I'm starving. I'm going to go to Maverick's Real Roast Beef off Lexington and Roseville, and you need to go too. Check out their menu at mavericksbeef.com. Greg Bakun here. I love historic tours of Minneapolis and seeing everything it has to offer. But if you know me, I like to include a little spooky in my tours, which is why I found the perfect combination. Minneapolis Trolley Tours does this amazing candlelight ghost tour that you have to check out. It's an extremely immersive experience. It's a trolley trip that starts out at a haunted mansion, traveling around Minneapolis locations, exposing ghost stories that the public and business owners would rather left untold. Then a tour of the aforementioned haunted mansion where ghosts of past residents from the 1800s reside, plus a lot of surprises to discover. Next, experience Gertrude's After Hours. Did I mention Gertrude is the mansion's most famous ghost? Maybe she'll show up. And you finish up the tour at Gertrude's Lounge in the haunted basement of the mansion with refreshments and Q&A. The trolleys are climate controlled and the mansion is restored to perfection. Check out MinneapolisTrolleyTours.com for more information.
Casual Friday. Casual Friday. Casual Friday on GhostBox Radio.
And it is Casual Friday here in GhostBox Radio. I hope everyone had a good week. I hope it wasn't too stressful. Sometimes it can be. We all know that. So we're hoping to help you get in the mood to get your weekend started correctly. And, something, Adam, I didn't have any idea about until we're looking this week, because we are looking to do hopefully some kind of event or something with the folks over at Minneapolis Trolley Tours again. And I noticed that they added for Friday and Saturday nights graveyard ghost hunt.
Ooh.
And what this is, as the night settles in, this eerie excursion begins with a chilling ride through the darkened streets of downtown. Your destination, a historic graveyard shrouded in legend and mystery. Join us as we part in a hands-on paranormal investigation using EMF readers and divining rods. I wonder where they heard of that before. Tools often used to communicate with the other side. That's news to me. And that sounds like fun. I hope to be able to take part in that. They don't say which cemetery though. But it sounds fun. I mean, I'm all about that.
There are some odd feeling cemeteries in the metro area.
Oh yeah.
So they have a plethora to choose from in Minneapolis City proper even.
It's an interesting thing because there are paranormal investigators and psychics and whatnot that really believe pretty strongly not to investigate cemeteries.
Mhm.
And I don't disagree with that, but I also don't agree with that, if that makes sense. I also feel like I've done enough of it. It'd be a hypocrite for me to be like, yep, don't go in those. I always just ask for permission when I go in. But I remember how did this go? When I was with my friend Jessica, and it was at night, and we were just more of a dusk, and we were at old St. Walburga Cemetery, and just by Rogers, Minnesota, and we were just sitting at a bench in the cemetery, looking, which would be probably maybe back north or something, and we had talked about something at a cemetery up the road. That we had gone there first and we felt something there, and we talked about it, and all of a sudden, as we were talking about it, from the direction of that cemetery at a white fence where the cemetery ended and the residential area began, a black mass just appeared and started coming towards us. And it wasn't, I was gonna say it wasn't nasty. I don't know what it was, but it did startle us, and then it dissipated. But it was when we were talking about it, and that's something.
And I'm on the fence about doing cemeteries. I know people who go in even without permission, unfortunately, but they'll go in and it's like that's kind of trespassing, kind of. Yeah. But at the same time, my buddy Jeff, a few years ago, when he found out that I was a fan of the paranormal shows and into the paranormal, he had some photos that he had sent me from a cemetery he was at in Wyoming, Minnesota. And there were these missed photos, but in one of them you could definitely see the outline of what looked like a person within the mist. And he was telling me that these were all taken like rapid fire. There was like 7 of them in a row. And in that middle one, the mist was there for all of them, but the middle one, you could definitely see something start to form.
Wow.
It was very neat set of pictures that he showed me.
I will certainly say, if you go to a cemetery and the gates are shut and it's closed for the day, like, cemeteries are open and they close, like, they say we're closed at dusk or whatever, and you're going in there doing stuff, that's no. But if you're just, I was over at Virginia City in Nevada. And if anyone knows what Virginia City is, that's where the Washoe Club is and other places. And it's amazing. It's a great place. And I was talking with a couple other people who were doing shows. They're that's what they're all about. We're doing shows. And one guy was just like, yeah, the cemetery here, which is ridiculously haunted. He's just like, yeah, I wanted to investigate it and it was closed. So I hopped the fence and I went in, and in my mind, I'm just like, and you're dead to me. I mean, you're just dead to me. I don't want anything to do with you. And there was that sort of, there is just that sort of like, group that they were all about it. This group was all about it, and the guy who was kind of the leader of that paranormal group, who was doing all the shows, and he appeared on some of the big shows, and he's just like, that a boy, that's why you're family to us. And I'm just like, you guys are gross. I want nothing to do with you. And I made it my business not to do anything with them again. They were just absolutely they were what I hate about the paranormal. There's a lot of love about it, but those are the type of people that I can't handle, because they take what should be exciting and research about the paranormal, and they just skew it to whatever they want it to be, and it's not a good thing.
Yeah, and a lot of people just look at, well, it's a cemetery. No, you hop in the fence when it's closed for the day or whatnot. You hop in the fence is the same thing as you just walking into somebody's house that's purportedly haunted and investigating with them there and them not wanting it. That is the exact same thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what fame, the chase for fame does, and that's what they're all trying to do, and none of them got there. So that's all that matters there. Let's see. Joshua says, hi guys, I did 2 private in-home consults this week. It's been interesting. It's been a while since I've done any private consultation. So good for you. Well done. Very nice. I just want to quickly kind of go through, because as we get into May now, there's a lot of stuff going on, and I want to make sure everybody is aware of stuff that we have going on so you can join us. The first is going to be this coming Wednesday, May 7th at 6:30 p.m. The return of Ghost Stories and Beyond in Anoka at Billy's Bar and Grill. And we have a very special guest tonight, or that night, with us, and that's Andra Sakala. And she is the line producer for the hit Haunt TV series Haunted Discoveries. We've had Brandon Alvis on before, who that's his show. He created it. He does, it's his baby. But Andra is actually from Minnesota. She is around the Twin Cities area, and she just got back from a big shoot for Haunted Discoveries. And we're going to be talking with her on that night all about the production process of working on a paranormal TV show, and really kind of come to terms, because I'm sure people have a lot of misconceptions or just a lot of ideas about how that works, and how do you put something together, and how long do they spend in a location, and all that good stuff. And Andra's there for all of it. So you want to check that out. That's this coming Wednesday, May 7th at Billy's Bar and Grill in Anoka. Of course, it's Wednesday, so half-price burgers, $10 to get in. I've known Andra for a while. She is fantastic. You're going to have a great night, and it really kind of pulls the curtain back on paranormal TV. This is really going to be a lot of fun. Then the week after, I'm going to be at Charvinity Psychic and Healing Fair, Maria Shaw's Bloomington Convention, May 17th at the DoubleTree by Hilton Minneapolis Airport. It is just on May 17th, and you can get more information by going to charvinityfairs.com or Charvinity on Facebook. And the thing about that is I promise I'm not going to come down with any flu or anything this time. I don't have an animal that is going to pass away anytime soon. So I should be there. I've missed the last 2 or 3 Charvinity fairs and I feel really bad. So I'm really excited to be able to get back to it and be a part of it for that day. Then, of course, May 30th through June 1st is Des Moines Con. And we're going to be out there for that. We're going to have a table there. That's at the Iowa Event Center. And I'm actually going to be presenting there as well, which is breaking news for GhostBox Radio. It's very exciting. And we're going to play some recordings, some evidence, other stuff that we picked up. You can just go to DesMoinesCon.com and get tickets. That's going to be a lot of fun. Check out who's going to be there. A lot of great guests are going to be there. A lot of great vendors. I'm super looking forward to that. And then June 6th through 8th is the Ecto Cruise. The Ecto Cruise is going to be putting on Take the Boo Out of Baraboo. And that's, like I said, June 6th through 8th. What you want to do is you want to go to Ecto Cruise on Facebook to get more information about what that all entails. We'll be talking a lot more about that as we get a little bit closer. But that's just 4 of the things that we have going on over the course of just May and June. We're not talking about July or anything else yet. There's a lot of stuff coming up, Adam, and it's super exciting. And unlike Terry Flick, I don't think these people are going to ghost me. So I think I'll be able to be at all these. So that's exciting.
I will say at Des Moines Con, though, when you're given that presentation, you got to bring lunch back to the table to me.
Well, I mean, we got to figure out, and we might have to put just a black basically tablecloth over our table, and then you can come out or help or whatever. We'll figure out what that looks like. But yeah, I mean, and that just happened just a couple days ago. The folks over at Des Moines Con, Ben and Becky, who just was brought in just to see if there's any room. She worked with us to get us in, and that was super, super, super kind. And the way it looks right now is that I'll be presenting May 31st at 11 a.m. And boy, that's going to be exciting. I'm super, super stoked for that. All of these are great events, and we got a lot. So I hope to see some of you out there, not because we're going to be out there. It'd be nice for you to come out because we're out there, but these are really good events. And I'm really looking forward to talking more about Take the Boo Out of Baraboo. And we will do that as next week or so. We'll start talking a little bit more about that. But that's going to be a lot of fun, too. So, yeah, Adam, it's dance card is pretty full. So I'm not too worried that I'm not doing a whole lot on National Paranormal Day.
Yeah, you got to save your energy. And for the Charvinity thing, we will put you in a plastic bubble. So that you don't fall sick this time. So we'll keep you nice and safe.
Well, the thing is like both times that I missed, I've been told that people had come out there looking for me. And you know darn well I'm going to go out there and no one's going to come up to my table. You know, it's going to be like, okay, I'm here. And it's like, hello. As long as they come out to see everybody else, that's all that matters to me. Yeah. Let's see. Joshua says I usually make burrito or cold wraps for events. For what events? So you take it for lunch, or you're gonna bring some to Adam at the table when I'm presenting? I mean, I know you live in Florida, so might be difficult, but hey.
I'll send you my mailing address, Joshua.
You know,
we'll get that all squared away. But no, that actually brings up a good point, because the food there at a lot of conventions gets really expensive. Maybe, smuggling in, a couple of sandwiches might not be a bad idea.
Yeah, it's what's even more dangerous. I don't want to say I was shocked, but at Twin Cities Con, you could get booze there like from the start of the day.
Yeah.
And I just, that's kind of my jam. And I didn't have any, though. I didn't have any because remember the table. What's that?
That's a lie.
No, I did have one, didn't I?
Yeah, I bought you a drink. You asked me to buy you one, and I went up and grabbed one for you. So
X-nay and the drink nay. But no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, I guess I did. Hey, it was a tough weekend. I felt ill.
It was a tough weekend. It was fun. It was nonstop. And that's the same thing I expect from Des Moines at the end of this month, beginning of next month. Just nonstop fun.
Yeah, yeah, it really was. It was I don't think I've ever experienced as many people coming to a table at once, and for people who hadn't really no idea who we were. And the best part was the table next to us, to our left. They were selling cards, like Star Wars cards and whatnot, and they were just 2-3 deep of people wanting to buy their stuff. I mean, it's clear it was a very good weekend, and they actually offered to buy out our table so they could have more room. And it was like there was a second like, and what are we talking for price? I mean, chat doesn't need to know. I mean, talking $1,000, 500 for Adam, 500 for me. Yeah, I could maybe.
Yeah, we
But
can
no,
just meet Chad in the back parking lot when it's all done and be like, yeah, it was a great weekend.
exactly. Yeah, but no, it just but I mean, it was kind of cool that we had all these AM 950 bags that no one was taking, and we're like, and I think Adam, you were just like, hey, why don't you use these and put your stuff in there when you hand out to people, and it became like a dual sort of promotion. So that was really cool.
Yeah, it ended up being like a blast. Normally when I go to a convention, I'm usually there. This is the first time I've been on the other side, if you will.
Yeah.
As a vendor or anything like that. So it took me a bit to get used to not putting on a bunch of miles walking around, and spending a bunch of money. But from the other side, as the vendor side, that was so much fun, so eye-opening too, to understand that, oh yeah, it's just a bunch of small businesses using this to kind of get their names out there. And it's like this, it's definitely something I can get behind. And I do know next time I go as a fan instead of a vendor that I will definitely be hitting up more of the vendor booths, because now I understand the idea.
Yeah, and we had across from us, we had the costuming Star Wars folks who I'm assuming they were selling costumes as well, but they were doing a lot. They had a lot of people in costume from the costumes that they made, and they played the music. I mean, these things, and they had like 4 tables, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they did.
And we're talking probably about $2,000 worth of tables. And I mean, I don't know what they were selling. I don't know if they sold, but it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
And I'm glad it was the Star Wars soundtrack that they just continuously played, because if it would have been, really anything, if it would have been like Harry Potter, I think it would have strangled somebody. I know, same composer, but still.
I've only seen one Harry Potter film.
That's one more than I've seen.
Yeah, well, that's just it. I mean, and
I tried to read the books, and very much like Lord of the Rings, I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, I mean, when Dan was on Wednesday, and he's like, I just fell in love with Tolkien, I just was like, I hear that people do that. I've never been one personally.
My wife is one. She does the Lord of the Rings, the Wheel of Time stuff. Gracious enough, Dan's going to be sending me copies of his other 2 books, because as soon as my wife heard, and as soon as I heard too, that he based a lot of his character building and world building on Robert Jordan books, oh yeah, she'll be hooked right away.
Absolutely. No, I mean, that's good. And his books are good. And I love the fact that he doesn't look at it as a money-making proposition. He's looking at it as, I'm in a position that I can make a dream come true. And that's the way I took it, at least. And he wants to share it. And I find it kind of, I feel like, in the same, but we're in the same boat in a way. Like, all I want to do is share what we do here. And it's tough because we're in an overly saturated market. And when I mean market, I mean like just as a paranormal community, to be able to get our voices to be heard, because there's so much out there. I'm not saying anyone's worse than us or we're better than anyone else. It's just harder to get those words out there sometimes. So,
So as Greg normally mentions, if you're watching us on Facebook, send some stars.
Yeah, Send some stars to, if you're watching on, well, I mean, anywhere you're watching on Facebook is fine, but especially if you're watching on GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakun. I mean, if you're watching on Get Haunted, please do so as well. They've taken very good care of us over there as well as don't forget, folks, another way to support is through my Patreon, patreon.com/GhostBox Radio. It is a big way to help support what we do, because just how the situation's set up with AM 950 is not as straightforward as you might think. So any sort of help, and you get to listen to a lot of great previous episodes that are constantly being taken down. So definitely want to check that out. Why don't we do this, Adam? I think that we should go ahead, take another break. When we get back, we have question of the week. We'll talk about how we're going to handle Paranormal Day, National Paranormal Day, and all sorts of good stuff. Plus, whatever on your mind, folks. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Adam. I see that. And we'll continue on. This is Casual Friday, and you're listening to GhostBox Radio.
Greg Bakun here. Like you, I love good, fresh, delicious food. So I want to tell you about this treasure in Roseville called Maverick's Real Roast Beef. Maverick's has the best roast beef sandwiches I've ever had. Made fresh every order. Add fries or onion rings dropped in the fryer when ordered, and you have a winning combination. Maverick's Real Roast Beef has a lot more than roast beef, so check out their website, mavericksbeef.com, or check out their restaurant on Lexington in Roseville.
Greg Bakun here. I love historic tours of Minneapolis and seeing everything it has to offer. But if you know me, I like to include a little spooky in my tours, which is why I found the perfect combination. Minneapolis Trolley Tours does this amazing candlelight ghost tour that you have to check out. It's an extremely immersive experience. It's a trolley trip that starts out at a haunted mansion, traveling around Minneapolis locations, exposing ghost stories that the public and business owners would rather left untold. Then a tour of the aforementioned haunted mansion where ghosts of past residents from the 1800s reside, plus a lot of surprises to discover. Next, experience Gertrude's After Hours. Did I mention Gertrude is the mansion's most famous ghost? Maybe she'll show up. And you finish up the tour at Gertrude's Lounge in the haunted basement of the mansion with refreshments and Q&A. The trolleys are climate controlled and the mansion is restored to perfection. Check out MinneapolisTrolleyTours.com for more information.
Are you one of thousands of individuals who know you have psychic abilities but don't know how to tap into your higher self? Refined Divine is an extremely gifted psychic medium who offers classes that can help you reach your goals. Refined Divine holds classes Monday and Thursday at her 2 locations and via Zoom. Classes consist of manifestation, learning psychic abilities, shadow work, and healing trauma. Refined Divine has helped thousands, and she can help you.
This is Psychic Medium Deb. You can go to refineddivinepsychic.com.
Casual Friday. Casual Friday. Casual Friday on GhostBox Radio.
And it is Casual Friday here on GhostBox Radio. Thank you for spending your Friday evening with us as we all get ready to ease into the weekend. I hope you all have good things going on here. It's Greg Bakun here, along with Adam and Ian Prairie. Join me Monday on GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakun. We are going to take a look, and we're going to celebrate, even though tomorrow is National Paranormal Day. We are going to do a paranormal roundtable discussion. This isn't something I normally do in terms of bringing in paranormal investigators, but I thought this would be a good opportunity because I'd love to know from different types of investigators, how do you do paranormal investigating? What does paranormal mean to you? What does investigating mean to you? So I'm going to bring on here Debbie Romero, who we've had on a few times before, incredible psychic medium, because maybe I shouldn't be taking credit for this, but from her time knowing me, she has now started using Spirit Box as well as Pendulum, and it doesn't mean that she got it from me, but I'd like to think that she had a little bit at least. And she's going to be joining us, as well as Jeremy York, who runs another Facebook network called Things Network. And then Wade Kirby, who is part of Nesper, which is a better way of saying it is Ed and Lorraine Warren's paranormal group, or stemmed from them. and we're going to be having a conversation. I'd love to know what everyone else is thinking about, like how do they paranormal, I guess, and we'll just kind of go from there. I think it's going to be a very interesting conversation on Monday, so I'm looking towards that. Tuesday, we have the return of Refined Divine. We're going to be talking about some of her experiences. I'm not quite sure what those are yet. And then Wednesday, we're going to have Dean Eliotto. He's the director of the film The Alien Perspective. We're going to have him on. We're going to talk about it. I'm going to be watching that film over the weekend. It's available on Amazon, so that should be really good. Carrie says, love GhostBox Radio. Thank you very much. That means a great deal. I know Adam appreciates that as well. Not to speak for you, Adam, but I will. And you know, I think when anyone's positive about what we do, it's obviously we're going to be happy about it. So
absolutely.
Thank
Speak
you
for
very
me all
much.
you want.
Yeah, exactly. Question of the week is simply this: what part of the world or culture has the folklore? Folklore? Oh my gosh, it is. Should we just end the show now? Here, why don't let me help us out here. There we go. No, I'm just kidding. Question of the week: what part of the world or culture has the folklore you are most interested in? Adam, you had an answer.
My two favorites come from the UK, and I love European folklore to begin with. To me, that one is so much fun because there are a lot of things that spin off that folklore. So, first one, and I've talked about on the show probably ad nauseum, the Green Children of Woolpit. I absolutely love that one. The other folklore story that authors have borrowed from is the washer on the ford. And a ford is not the truck, it is the shallow bend of a river where way back in the day, villagers would wash clothes and bathe. They would do it in the ford of the river so they wouldn't drown because it's shallow. But there's the story of the washer on the ford where a young prince comes across an older woman in need. He rejects her. She's a witch. He doesn't know that. She turns herself into a young, beautiful woman. He ends up sleeping with the young, beautiful woman. When they are done, she turns back into the witch. And it's like, hey, you ignored me and you're married. So he will always carry like essentially a scarlet letter or scar across his chest. Mm-hmm. So you can see where Beauty and the Beast and the book Scarlet Letter, where that comes from this story. And I think it initially, it was first recorded back in like 1234 AD in Wales.
Wow.
So it's an older story. I absolutely love that story. One of my favorites.
My goodness. Yeah, no, that's very cool. Joshua, when I don't know, Joshua, if you have this comment in here, when I said, after I started, couldn't say the word folklore, and I said, let's just end the show. If that comment, great idea. If that has to do with that or something else, I don't know. My feelings are hurt. No, I'm just kidding. Let's see here. What's that?
It was in there before.
It was in there before. Journey with Spirit says, I'm interested in folklore about the Black Forest in Germany. That's interesting.
I believe that's where the Hansel and Gretel story actually started from.
It totally is. And that's what I love about that is when people are telling me stuff that, it's like, I thought I heard of that somewhere before, but where? So I appreciate that very much. Let me go over to my GhostBox page here. And if you haven't done so, folks, go over to GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakun on Facebook and like it. That would be awesome. Really appreciate it. Let's see here. We got your comment. It wasn't a big week for comments for this. I always feel like the more in depth we are, we need to keep this as simple as like, do you like hamburger or cheeseburger? And I think we might get a little bit more responses from it. Joe Prozit, who's been on such radio shows as GhostBox Radio, says, I've always been fascinated by the Kensington Ruined Stone, also the Voynich manuscript. Interesting. Very interesting. A woman by the name of Danielle, who you may know, Adam.
She's
says Transylvania, beyond the obvious of the castles and the legend of Dracula. I'm going to say this horribly wrong. Do you know what this is? The Hoya Bacău forest?
Hoia Baciu forest.
Hoia Baciu.
Yeah, it's in Romania.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's this forest, but in the middle of it, there's like this almost perfect circle that nothing grows in the middle of this forest. And that portion of the forest is purportedly haunted with sounds of screaming, sounds of women, physical attacks. It's nuts. I want to go there.
In the center of it is the AM 950 building. And
those screams are mine then.
Yeah, those are like, God, why? I went today to Hawaii Poke Bowl to get I love it, and I went there, and I just I'm always wearing a hoodie, and I'm just, my hair is just a mess, and I just go in there, grab my food, and leave, and I'm just like, and I see people who actually take care of themselves are in there. And I'm just like looking at myself like, when did that stop? Like, when did I don't really do my hair anymore or anything? And I'm like, and I said to myself, and I literally said this to myself, I said, it's okay. I work in AM radio. And it's like, wait a minute. I should make a shirt that it's okay. I work in AM radio.
See, now I have two excuses. My other excuse is why I look like trash all the time. It's like, I'm already married and have a kid. Who am I trying to impress?
Right. I mean, and she seems to love you for who you are. So, I mean,
she'll get her next payment coming up shortly. No,
yeah, I did say seems.
Yeah.
Joshua in the comments says regarding the Black Forest. Ooh, good one. My mom and sister went to the Black Forest in Germany. Oh, very cool.
That is a place I would love to peep out. I kind of just want to do the whole backpack through Germany thing at some point in my life. That to me would be a blast.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many places. I've been to it's not Stonehenge, but there's other stones in the UK, and I can't think of the name of it. All I can tell you is like a British children's series was done there called Children of the Stone, and I was there, and I went there with my spirit box, and did not get anything, but it was still cool to do all the same. So it was really, I mean, we're looking at a place that dates back, way before dates were really a thing, so I mean, it was kind of fun. Yeah,
I would love to get over there and see a bunch of that stuff. That would be so much fun.
The best I was at, though, being someone who loves British television, loves British history, and loves paranormal, a place called Alexandra Palace out just on the outskirts of London, and it was the birthplace of British television. That's where John Logie Baird was doing his television experiments for the BBC, and BBC had their first studios there. And it was also a place that had, I mean, it's been around since the 1800s, multiple fires there. So parts of it the walls are standing, but there's nothing inside because it burned down. Lots of explosions there. It's just, and a train station in the back, and just massive. And a big chunk of this place hasn't been touched in probably 40 years. Okay. I went there in 2017 and we walked around. I remember seeing on the main floor in an area that's locked off to everybody was a newspaper that was just laying there, clearly just laying, like people were working there one day and then they just stopped. There's like coffee cups and everything there. And so we there's a newspaper on there from 1984. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty interesting. That's pretty cool. I went back 4 years later and we got the same tour and actually got to climb around the roof a little bit there as well. And the same newspaper was there. The table had been unchanged all those years later. The size of this place is incredible, but we went down to the basement and there's no electricity down there. And it was used for bomb shelters during World War II, all sorts of things. And just what you could imagine that sort of place would be. And I pull out a K2 and turn it on and the thing starts going crazy. And the two people who were with me, they're just like, they weren't here for paranormal. They were here to talk about British television. And they were just like, what the hell's going on? I'm like, I don't know. There's something in here. And they're like, turn it off. I'm like, well, no. I mean, and they're just like, they're like, look, I got to get out of here. I'm like, relax. My God, relax.
scaring people wherever you go, inadvertently or not.
Well, it's just like they're just lights. That's all they are. It doesn't mean anything, you know. So Joshua says love PBS. Well, say goodbye to that.
Yeah.
And British soaps and dramas and all things and Britcoms. Yeah, me too. I mean, I've something I don't tell people. I mean, people know I love Doctor Who, but I actually I'm a researcher for British television. I work with a group in the UK called Kaleidoscope, and we find missing British television. And I found a number of pieces myself here in the US. So it's one of the things that I really enjoy. It's one of my favorite things. So yeah, it all kind of converged: British television, history, and paranormal all in one. I've actually reached out to them, and someday I'm hoping to go over there and hold an event at Alexandra for some part of Alexandra Palace to do a paranormal investigation over there.
Oh, that would be amazing.
That would be amazing. Yeah.
To even get into any sort of castle or anything like that in the UK, to me, would be so much fun.
It would be. And don't forget, the hallways under the Walt Disney Studios are also haunted. We heard that firsthand by the Pencil Man. So
yes, we did.
So there's that as well.
It's not the castle I want to go to.
No, I would love to go to, as long as he's not there. I mean, that's fine. I mean, I'd love to go there. It just leave you and your pencils at home. I don't care if they belong to Walt Disney. So yeah,
well, it's their magic.
Yeah, they would probably be a trigger object, wouldn't they?
You would think.
So we're running out of time rapidly here. Everyone, I hope you have a great weekend. Thank you for joining us. Once again, Monday, we're going to do a kind of a paranormal roundtable, because we're going to do a late celebration of National Paranormal Day with Debbie Romero, Jeremy York, and Wade Kirby. Please join us for that. We have a great week of programming. Adam, as always, thank you very much. Really appreciate everything as usual.
Thank you.
Folks, we'll be back on Monday. Everyone, have a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you then.
Hi, Matt McNeil here.